Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be understanding how exactly this pattern printing works, and through this pattern printing, we will be learning and understanding deeper of how exactly this iteration and looping works. Through this understanding of iterations and loopings, we could solve the problems effectively. So it will help us to solving the problem so effectively. So without further delay, we will just dive into the pattern printing. Before pattern printing in Python, we need to understand some important things that will help us to do the pattern printing very effectively. In that, we will be having string concatenation. Let me show you what exactly this string concatenation. Let us take an example of name. My name is Mahesh, so I will be having a string called Mahesh, and let me have my surname is Javiniki. So how exactly this string concatenation works? Let me print this. I have this name, and with using plus we are actually concatenating both name and surname. So how exactly this works? Surname. When I print this, what will be the output that I will be getting? Concatenation of both Mahesh and Javiniki, that what we'll be getting as output. If you see here, we will be getting the concatenation of both Mahesh as well as Javiniki, the surname. So here we will missing a space. So if I want a space, I could add a space like this. So this is also concatenation. So the main idea of string concatenation is concatenating of two strings with using of plus operator. That is what exactly this string concatenation. Next we will be having string multiplication. String multiplication, in the same way we will be using multiplication operator instead of plus operator in string multiplication. I have name as Mahesh, and I need to have I want three Mahesh. So for that reason, what we will be doing is print my name is there, and I am multiplying with 3. So by using this multiplication operator, we are actually doing string multiplication. When I print this, I will be getting 3 Mahesh, Mahesh, and Mahesh, something like this. This is what exactly we call as a string multiplication. So we have understood what exactly string concatenation and what exactly string multiplication. So now we will be understanding the for loop. For loop is very frequently used while doing the pattern printing operations. So let's just understand what are exactly these for loops are. Let's say for I in range. Range is a function that we will be using to iterate a number from one one stage to another stage, from the starting point, from the starting number to ending number. So this, how exactly this works, let me show you this. This is the doc string. So range is a function we will be having start and stop and step. By default, we can use through stop only. And how exactly this works is that range of I to j produces I 1 to j minus 1. So this is how exactly this works. Let me give a number. Let's say 10 I am giving. So if I print I, what I will be getting is that from 0 to 10 minus 1, that is n minus 1 values I will be getting. Like this, if you could see the output, from 0 to 9 values I am getting. This is how exactly this print works. How exactly this for loop works. Let me show you with the different examples. For I in range, let me take a starting number. Here we are getting the 0. Instead of 0, if you want to start from 1, we will be going from 1 till 10. So in this case, what exactly I will be getting is from 1 till 10 I will be getting. Till 9 I will be getting, because 10 is not included for this case in the range function. So if I wanted to, here in this case we are starting from lower number and moving towards a bigger number. If I want to start with a bigger number and move towards a lower number, what I will be doing is, for I in range, I will be starting with a bigger number and I will be going to the smaller number, which might be 0. So each time the step value that I will be applying is minus 1. So for each iteration I will be reducing 1. So if you could see here, from 10 till 1 I am reaching. This is what exactly and how exactly the for loop works. So having this understanding, let's move forward and understand and how exactly this printing patterns will we can solve these printing patterns by using this for loops, string concatenation and string multiplication. So for that reason, let me take an example here. If you could see here, if you could understand this here, we have 5 rows, and each row we will be incrementing by 1 in the first row, and 2 in the second row, and 3 in the third row, and 4 in the fourth row, and 5 in the fifth row. So let me take a number as how many number of rows that I have, that number I am taking. So that is 5. So I will be iterating through this number for I in range of, from I will be starting with 1 because the first row I have 1. So I am starting with 1, and I want to go towards 5. So as the range function does not include 5, because of that reason I am include number plus 1, because to go till 5. So in this, if I wanted to print that pattern, I want to print star. And if you could remember that string multiplication function, I will multiply this string with I. So why I am doing this, why I am multiplying with I is that if I could print I simply, so I will getting from 1 till 5. So because of that reason, in first row I want one string, one star. For that reason I will be printing 1 multiplied with star, that will be giving 1 star. In the second row, 2 with multiplied by 2 stars multiplied by star, I will get 2 stars. So having that in mind, I will be printing this star along with how many number of rows on each iteration I will be getting. If I print this, I will get the same output as you could see here. So this is what exactly we will be printing this pattern. So if you could come here, we have this pattern. So let me improvise it a little bit. So instead of just taking a random number, just taking a fixed number 5, we can actually take an input from user and do this: enter a number. So we are asking user enter a number. So if user gives 5, we'll be getting this result, and if user gives 10, we'll be getting this result. So the pattern remains same in whatever the number that user might give. So having that understood, next go for the next pattern, that is of this pattern. So I will take the same number of 5, as we have 5 rows in here, right? So if you could observe here, we will be getting the spaces first and star next. So if you could sum up these spaces and star, in first row we have 4 spaces and 1 star. In second row we have 3 spaces and 2 stars. If you could understand this pattern, the number of spaces is reducing each iterations, and the number of stars are increased on each iteration. So for that reason, what I could do is that, let me iterate before jumping to the for loop. Let me take a spaces, we want spaces, right? So how many number of spaces that we want? So I will be taking number minus 1, because I am starting with, I have 5 in my number, and I wanted to start with 4. Because of that reason, I am taking number minus 1, that will be 4. And each iteration I will be reducing these spaces for by 1. So having understood that, for I in range, from where I wanted to start, I want to start from 1. I wanted to move from number plus 1, right? So what I need to print first, I need to print spaces first with string multiplication with what? Spaces plus string concatenation. And what I need to do, I need to print the star. To print the star, what I need to do, I need to have a star and string multiplication with what? I. Because I am incrementing with this by 1 each time, that is I. So parallelly, I need to decrease these spaces. Space minus equal to 1, this will reduce the spaces on each iteration. So if I execute this, I will be getting the same pattern as above. So this is the pattern that we are having. The same thing I could do here also. Take an input from user, enter a number. Instead of taking fixed value, we could generate something like 15 or so. So the pattern remains same as you could observe on the screen. So the next pattern that we will be going through this is this. So listen carefully here, it is very important. Sorry. So we will be having 5 rows. Let's take a fixed number as 5. Number of rows is equal to 5. So on each iteration, I will be having these spaces. As you could see the similar pattern here also, the similar pattern of spaces that we could be observed in here also. So I am having a space variable which is of number minus 1. So on each iteration, I will be going through this number. So for I in range of 1 till number plus 1. So next, what I wanted to do, I wanted to print the spaces first. To print the spaces, I am multiplying with spaces variable, and I am concatenating this spaces variable with star variable. So I will be getting the star, and this star will be multiplied with what, that we need to understand here. So if you could observe this pattern here, first we will be having one string, one star, next we have 3 stars, next we have 5 stars, next we have 7 stars, and next we have 9 stars. So by observing this, what kind of a thing that we will be concluding is that on each iteration, the I the ith value first we will be having 1 is multiplied by 2, and let, give me a second, multiplied by 2 and reduced by minus 1. Have you understood this? On each iteration, in the first iteration, I have I as 1 multiplied by 2, which becomes 2, minus 1, which becomes 1. Next iteration, 2 multiplied by 2, 4, minus 1, 3. And the next iteration, 3 multiplied by 2, 6, minus 1, 4. Like this, the pattern will be repeating. So, this is the logic that we have found by observing the pattern, right? I hope you got this understanding of how exactly this pattern works of I multiplied by 2 minus 1. So I need to reduce the spaces minus equal to 1. If I print this, I am not getting the desired result of what I am expecting. So what might be the problem? So here we are multiplying these spaces minus 1. So number of spaces are 5. Iteration will be incrementing with 1. So space is not getting printed. So this is minus 1, minus 1, spaces for minus 1, number minus 1. First one is printing with spaces. So I have done a mistake in the typo. SPA spaces. So if I print this, I will get the desired pattern as I could observe here. So this is a small typo error that I have done here. So this is what the patterns that we have understood so far. So this is the upward pyramid that we have done. So going forward, we will do this downward pyramid also, so by in a iterative manner. So let me go through this pattern first. I will take the number as we generally used to take, that is 5. And if you could see here, if you could understand this pattern here, on each iterations the number of spaces are becoming increased and the number of stars reduced. The similar pattern in the what we have observed here in the reverse direction. So number of spaces are increased and the number of stars are becoming decreased. So what I could do here, I can take a spaces variable will start with 0, because in the first row I don't have any kind of spaces. So in the next row, on iterative manner for I in range of, so what I could do is I could start from the higher value and go towards the lower value and print the number of stars that I will be getting. So I will be starting from number, and I will be going towards 0, because 0 it is not calculated. It's before the value of the 0 that will be calculated. So on each iteration I will be reducing by -1. So if I could go through this, what I will be printing is that, first of all, I will be printing these stars, how many stars that I have got. So I will be printing these stars, how many stars that I have I number of stars on the first iteration, and how many number of spaces that I have, spaces, 0 spaces, and each iteration spaces will be increased, spaces plus equal to 1. So if I could run this, I will be getting the reverse direction of this pattern. So you are not much worried about that pattern. So let me check what exactly the things are in this pattern. So I think spaces are coming first. After spaces, we will be getting the stars. Because of that reason, it is giving this kind of a result. So you could see here we have got the same pattern as we have in the above. So what you could do, you could just replace this number with input by taking the input from the user. You could print the similar pattern by whichever the number that user give. So we will print the this pattern as by mistakenly we have got in the above. So let me take this number is 5. by just by just replacing this spaces first and numbers next, we could actually get this same result. So instead of wasting your time, and as we have understood this previously itself, so let me print this, and I will take out this spaces. Actually spaces doesn't required here at the end, so let me remove these spaces also. We don't actually require spaces, as spaces are not considered here. So no one cares about the spaces after we have getting the pattern. So we have removed the spaces, and printing we will be getting the same result of same pattern. You can actually remove this number with input by dynamically taking the input from the user. So let me print this downward pyramid. To print the downward pyramid, as we have print the upward pyramid, the similar logic will be applied in here as well, but in a reverse direction. Let me take with number 5. Let me start with number 5. On each iterations, the number of spaces you are seeing here, right? The spaces are becoming increased. So spaces from starting with 0, I need to increment the spaces on each iterations for I in range of, from what I am starting with a bigger number, that will be my number, and I am going towards the slower number, that will be 0, and each iteration I will be reducing by -1, that is -1. So as I am doing this, what I will be printing is that I will be started printing with this number of spaces first, because spaces are coming first. I will start with spaces and multiplied by, and multiplication, string multiplication operator, and with how many number of spaces that I have here, spaces, and I will be concatenating this string with logic. If you could observe this logic, I hope you have understood the logic that what we have discussed in the upward triangle, upward pyramid. So the same logic will be applied in here as well. What was the logic? I multiplied by 2 minus 1. On each iteration I will be doing this, as we have reducing by -1 from higher value to lower value. This I value will be reduced on each iteration. So this is what we will be getting. So for this, what we will be getting is that we will be trying to print this star. So this is what we have got. So if I print this, again I am getting some kind of a mistake here, because I am not decreasing the spaces values. I am not increasing the spaces values. Spaces plus equal to 1. If you could see here, I am getting the same pattern as a desired pattern. We can take the random input from the user. Input, enter a number. If user gives something like 8, we will be getting the downward pyramid of 8. Now we will be seeing this pattern which is of this one. So to understand this pattern, what we will be doing is that we will be starting with upward pyramid first on the first loop, and that in the next loop we will be printing the downward pyramid. So by combining this we will be getting this whole pattern. So let me start with the upward pyramid. So let me take the number 5 as we generally take for 5. For I am increasing the number of spaces. Let me take different, we have two different spaces, so because of that reason we will be taking up spaces is equal to, we will be starting with number minus 1. As we need to reduce the number of spaces on each iteration, I will be starting with the number for I in range of what I will be using. On this way, what I need to do, I need to traverse through the number of that I have got, number plus 1. What I will be doing in this iteration is that I will be printing the spaces first. This is the spaces that I have got. I need to increase the spaces, so I will be doing that as well. Up spaces, that is what the we have taken spaces, and from this and the next will be concatenating string with stars. So star is a string that I have got, that we have got. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. I will be multiplying this with the not I value. If you could observe here, on each iteration we will be finding the this kind of a pattern. If you could remember that pattern, what the pattern that we have is that I multiplied by 2 minus 1. This is the pattern that we have got from the above thing. So this is one thing, this is one part for getting the upward pyramid. So to get the downward pyramid, we need to do something, we need to do as like we have did here. So let me take this down spaces as well. Spaces is equal to, from how many number of spaces that we'll be having, we will be starting with 0 spaces and incrementing the 0 spaces with how many number of spaces that the pattern may contain. For I in range, I'll be starting with a number and going towards 0, and each iteration I will be doing minus 1. So what I will be printing is, I will be printing initially with spaces. Next what I will be doing is that I'll be printing this pattern, this star. The same logic will be applied here as well, so let me copy this. So if we print this, we have we have done two mistakes here. One is we haven't increased, we haven't decreased our spaces in the above. So let me decrease the spaces on each iteration in the above. We haven't increased the spaces in below. Still we have getting some kind of a mistake here, because the reason here we need to reduce the spaces. Mm, we need to increase the spaces here. Down spaces plus equal to minus 1. So spaces, not spaces, the down spaces we need to use here. Mm, some typo errors I'm doing. Sorry for the mistakes. So if you could see here, we have got the similar pattern but not exactly the same pattern. The thing what we have here is two strings, two lines of having the same pattern. So to remove this, we can actually remove any one of the line that we will be having here. So let me remove from the above. So by removing the above, we will be getting the similar pattern of what we have got in the above. So this is for this video. We have understood different things here, from the string concatenation, string multiplication, how exactly this for loop works, and started with these patterns and move towards upward pyramid and downward pyramid, and finally we have print this, we have come across this pattern. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. You have understood what exactly things that we have discussed in this video. If you like the video, like video, and if you wanted to share any comments that you are having, how exactly the explanation, any kind of improvisation that might be required from my side, you could comment that as well. So if you think this will help for your friends, you could share that as well. But don't forget to subscribe, so that will help you to get the latest videos that I will be promoting in my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video.